It's another informative episode of Housing Development, a program that advocates for the provision of affordable, accessible, and decent housing for all. As always, I am Fleur Ani, your housing diva. Coming up on the program today, we shall look at the burden of heavy weight of house rent on individuals and families. Is it possible for the level of corruption to reduce if government provides citizens with basic needs such as affordable housing? Find out the opinion of housing experts on this and more on the program right after the news headline. Don't go anywhere.
As inflation continues to spiral, major building materials markets in some parts of the country have witnessed a surge in prices, leaving many private developers jittery over maximizing profits on housing projects. Manufacturers are passing on the rapidly rising cost of raw materials to their customers, adding to concerns that inflation, which increased by 18.76% in March from the previous 17.92% recorded February 2021, may put further pressure on the economy. The increasing cost has also put the hope of becoming potential homeowners by Nigerians in limbo. About 60% of the total cost of building construction goes to materials, while the remaining 40% is spent on labor. Prices of essential building components like sand, blocks, roofing sheets, tiles, paint, and wood have witnessed an increase in prices by over 15% in the past 1 month in cities across the country. Most of the developers still rely on imported materials. The management of BUA Cement PLC on Sunday debunked claims of a purported increase in the price of its cement by 300 naira per bag. The management, in a statement obtained from its verified Twitter handle, said the company had no plans to increase prices of its cement now or in the near future. According to the statement, the company, noting the increased demand for cement, stated that the solution was not in an increase of ex-factory price at this period. The company reiterated its stand that the timing was not right for any increase in the price of major commodities. It stated that work was ongoing towards ramping up production capacity to ensure that commodities like cement remain accessible and affordable for customers. The Board of Directors, UAC and Property Development Company, UPDC, has announced the appointment of Oduayo Ojo as the new managing director. According to a statement, Ojo has over 20 years of experience in the property development, asset management and housing industry and worked in different property companies across 3 continents. He has at various times worked with Eagle Hills, Abu Dhabi, Ocean and Oil Holdings, and most recently as a chief executive officer at Laro City, Lagos, Nigeria. Ojo was announced as the managing director of UPDC, resulting from the company's strategy to reposition the group. The statement also thanked Deborah Nicole Omerua for a good job in steering the company aright while she acted as the managing director. Lagos State government has warned residents involved in land disputes against resorting to self-help by employing land grabbers to perpetrate violence. Commissioner for Justice and Attorney General of the state, Moyosore Onibanjo, who gave the warning at a stakeholders meeting in Ikorodu under the theme Land Grabbers, the Law and Your Right, said no one should resort to self-help. Represented by the Directorate of Advisory Services in the ministry, Sahid Kadiri, said the state government enacted the land grabbing law to prohibit forceful entry and illegal occupation of landed properties, as well as violent and fraudulent conduct in relation to landed properties. He accused some traditional leaders and community members of working as accomplices for land grabbers. On the foreign scene, the Western Cape government in South Africa has revealed that its social housing pipeline consists of 35 projects which seek to cater for over 5,000 households between now and the 2024-25 financial year. These opportunities, with an estimated cost of just over $70 million are not limited to the Cape Metro, but will also see residents benefiting in non-metro areas such as Mossel Bay, Worcester, and Drakensberg. In the city of Cape Town's inner city, projects are planned for Pine Road, Woodstock, Dillon Lane, South River, and Founders Garden on the foreshore. Feasibility assessments are underway on these projects. Further to this, in the 2020-21 financial year, the WCG demonstrated its commitment to creating social housing opportunities with projects such as Regent Villas in the Western Redden Valley, Shells Plains, Anchorage in Glenhaven, Belleville and the Botasig. Phase 3 developments delivered a combined total of 562 units.
The latest couple in town.
Good day, sir.
How are you? Oh, sit down, sit down, sit down.
Thank you, sir.
Drinks?
No, we're fine, sir.
How was the moon experience?
It was quite an experience.
How about house?
We are renting at the moment, but we intend to save enough to own our own house, right?
Why not avoid all those Shylock landlords and own a house up front? With the average income and cost of building houses today in Nigeria, mortgage is the best option. No sweat. I tell you what, that was how I got my first house, and I've never regretted it.
To make good homes, and by implication, a good society, an individual is expected to have an abode from which to take off and return at the end of each day. At the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, everyone deserves a home. Come join us at FMBN and let's shelter Nigeria together.
For more information on housing, finance and construction news, visit www.africanhousingnews.com. Most low-income Nigerians, especially renting civil servants, devote at least more than half of their income to covering house rent payment. How do they feel about this yearly rent obligation since they can afford to own a house of their own at this point in time? Take a listen.
The decision to move the capital city to the Federal Capital Territory by the military administration under General Ibrahim Babangida seems to be fast bringing a burden on civil servants working in the capital city. This is because majority of civil servants who work and live in the capital city and outskirts of Abuja are complaining over the rent obligation they have to meet every 12 months, and this is affecting their efficiency at work and inadvertently slowing down government business. Housing Development went around the capital city to feel the pulse of Abuja citizens on the matter, and some of the respondents lamented, amongst other things, the absence of regulation to curb the excesses of landlords who seem to be operating without any human face. Abdullahi Anas is a civil servant who lives in Kubwa. According to him, he said, as a civil servant, the house rent and what we earn as salary is nothing to write home about.
As a civil servant, federal civil servant here in Abuja, with the salary and what they are giving us as a house rent is very, very high. It's not nothing to write home about.
Adebayo Julius, in his comments, berated landlords in Abuja for failing to have a human face to see what tenants face yearly. He said even the downtrodden in the society does not see what the other man is going through, especially the landlords. I don't know whether it is the Lord that is attached to their names that is making them to misbehave. Do you believe that even in the midst of the COVID-19 lockdown, landlords will still be putting calls across to their tenants?
It's quite unfortunate that even we, the downtrodden, we are not helping ourselves, especially the landlord. I don't know, maybe because of the Lord attached to their name that made them to be misbehaving. Do you imagine that even despite the lockdown, some landlord will still be putting call across to you, still reminding you that your rent has expired? You stand? I don't know whether blood no longer runs in our vein. You understand? That will not make you to have human sympathy when it's come to house rent. Or better, like I said earlier, or because of the Lord attached to their name, landlord, that made them to be misbehaving.
The case of Linus Njoku, who lives in Maraba, Nasarawa State, and has to commute daily to work in the heart of the capital city, simply fits the experiences of civil servants and other Abuja residents, who in their majority have set their sights on small towns like Maraba, Masaka, and Suleja because they cannot afford rent in the capital city. His words: Coping with the payment of house rent is a terrible situation for the country. In the first instance, every citizen of the country is supposed to own a house. Many of us have not been able to attain that stage. It is a terrible situation because the landlords are not being regulated. If the government was in charge, it would make laws that will regulate the tenancy in Nigeria. We all know that building materials are expensive and government is now coming by the way of palliatives. It would be expected that government regulates the amount charged for rent according to the kind of house you want to rent.
In the first instance, every citizen of a country is supposed to own his own house. But unfortunately, because of the way things are, many of us have not been able to attain that stage. Then on the house rent itself, why I say it's a terrible situation is the landlords are not they are not being forced to regulate the house rent or the amount that's supposed to be charged on a particular type of house or a particular side of the country. So if government is fully in control, we expected that government by now should have been able to say or to make a law. Houses in this part of the country should be, this is how much they should regulate, how much the landlord should be collecting. I know that building materials are too expensive and the government is not giving the landlords money to build or refurbish their houses. But at the same time, in as much as we have government in place, a lot of things are supposed to be regulated.
Godon Atai, in his comments, said, rent in Asokoro is very high. One needs to go the extra mile to pay rent. A 2-bedroom apartment can go as high as 2.5 to 3.5 million naira. And if one does not have a reasonable source of income, he cannot live there, he said.
Rent in Asokoro is very high. In fact, one needs to go extra mile to raise money to pay rent. A 2-bedroom apartment can go as much as 2.5, 3 million, sometimes even 3.5 million. And if one is not really having a reasonable source of income, you cannot live there. It's unnecessarily high.
Blessed Karam, who lives in Asokoro Extension, also lamented thoughts. House rent in the FCT is outrageous. One would expect that as the administrative capital of the city and a civil servant, having rent would be affordable. But the reverse is the case. One can hardly afford the rent, even if you are living in the outskirts of the capital city.
House rent in Abuja is very, very outrageous, considering that Abuja is the administrative hub of Nigeria. One would expect that house rent in Nigeria in Abuja should be very, very considerate because most of the occupants of Abuja are civil servants. But to my greatest surprise, you see the house rent in Abuja is very, very outrageous that one can hardly afford. That's why you see people living in outskirts in Abuja instead of the Abuja city.
Hello guys, my name is Chief Femi Branch, as you all know. Okay, so y'all keep watching Housing Development on AIT.
The plight of Nigerians, especially civil servants, who pay rent annually with more than 30% of their income. Still on housing, aside the high rent payment, what other challenges do residents in different areas of the FCT face in the environment? Let's find out on Voices on the Street.
I live in Jabi, and I think the housing challenges are generally people not being sure of security, being that, you know, Abuja these days, there has been a lot of issues, and even around the country, about security issues. So I think the major challenge is just mostly around security, just being sure that you're not going to have armed robbers or thieves coming around.
I stay at Airport Road, Lugbe, FCT, Abuja. The cost of living there is high. And two, the water, the water there, in terms of water, is you have to lay a complaint before you can get water. Number 3, the electricity facility there is too poor. Always you've been hearing generator noise while you're paying light bills, but you'll not be getting those bills to your table. And the question is that even if you complain, nobody will even listen to you, not even the landlord or not even the NEPA himself. But when the bill is being served to you, you'll be forced to pay. Because once you're not paid and you're not around, they will come to cut your lights and all that. You'll be paying for a bill that you're not making use of. That is totally wrong and totally bad.
I live in Lugbe. The major challenge is road, infrastructures. You know, most of these Abuja developers, they just build houses without making infrastructures for the people living in the estate, and you just have to do everything yourself. You pay high rents and the roads are bad. When it rains, you have flood, and you know, the roofs are not even good and the rents are very high. So the major challenge is just the infrastructures around those areas.
I live in an urban settlement, Pape. The road is too congested and there is no space for like 2 or 3 lanes, understand? And secondly, the electricity. The electricity in my father's country is really not outstanding, understand? It's not what we should talk about, it's what the government itself should look into and look for a reform or a revolution on electricity power, because they say power is everything, understand? If we don't have power, then the country is powerless.
Voices on the street there. Most of the respondents live in an environment with substandard housing, with poor planning of housing structures, limited access to basic services such as clean water, inefficient power supply, poor access road to their houses. The list goes on. Everyone deserves to live in a decent, habitable, affordable, accessible and safe housing.
Timberlock wood preservative surpasses all preventive measures designed to permanently prevent the damage and quality reduction of wood and wood-based materials by termites, fungi, bacteria, and other boring insects. Use Timberlock premium wood preservative to prevent, correct, and defend wood and wood materials against deformities caused by termites and other insects in the later days. Timberlock is designed to solve wood preservation challenges with a standard you can trust. Timberlock wood preservative kills termites instantly. Timberlock wood preservative, the wood preservative brand leader in Africa.
Welcome back. You're watching Housing Development. Earthpoint Modern Shelter, a real estate company, has disclosed its readiness to play its part in reducing the housing deficits in Nigeria. Housing development crew took a tour to one of their housing estates, Earthpoint Modern Shelter, located at Dape Life Camp. Have a look.
Hello guys, welcome to Earthpoint Modern Shelter Estate. I'm Haiba Audu, and with me here are
Idris Abubakar, Bello Samuel.
Come with us, let's show you what we have here.
An epitome of excellence, fresh bout of comfort, sensational bliss, and a life that resonates with your deepest desire is the feeling Earthpoint Modern Shelter gives you at first sight. The estate is located at Dape Life Camp area of Abuja, a kilometer distant from the official residence of the FCT Minister. The estate, founded in November 2017,
Earthpoint Modern Shelter Estate is an exquisite modern estate which is located at Dape Life Camp, just 1 kilometer away from the FCT Minister's quarters. It's sitting on 3.6 hectares of land, which comprises of 3 house types.
Which includes the 2-bedroom apartments, the 3-bedroom apartments, and also the 4-bedroom semi-detached terrace. As you can see, this is the phase 1 of the 4-bedroom, which is already completed and is currently being occupied. And we have the phase 2 of the project, which is almost at completion stage. The estate comprises of 124 units of houses, 30 2-bedroom apartments, 24 3-bedroom apartments, and 70 4-bedroom terrace duplexes.
Earthpoint Modern Shelter is so much more than just a residential abode. It is a complete package of hospitality, infrastructure, commercial and residential development. It offers 24/7 security and electricity, interlocked paved roads, potable water, markets, hospitals, and lots more. It also has 2 projects in Apoduse and another in Galadimawa called Eden Gardens.
Presently, we have an ongoing project at Galadimawa called Eden Garden. Eden Garden comprises of 3-bedroom terraces with a BQ, 4-bedroom semi-detached with a BQ, 5-bedroom fully detached houses.
Our houses are affordable, and we also have mortgage options in partnership with a PMI, Infinity Trust Mortgage Homes, which give our clients very good mortgage rates to make them acquire our homes.
Our homes are not just beautiful, they are practical and affordable for desiring home buyers, home and abroad.
أهلا أهلا كيف الحال قد غبت وإليك اشتقنا وانتهى بعدك صار.
You're watching Housing Development. Still on housing issues. Is it possible for the level of corruption to reduce in the country if government provides a conducive environment, affordable housing that the low-income earners and even young Nigerians with stable income can afford? Let's hear from a housing expert.
Corruption is the after effect, a reaction of human behavior to hopelessness. Let me make it clear to you. Nigerians are not more corrupt than the American or than a Canadian. That is not true. We are as good as them. Now, if I put a young man on a seat and at 24, he could not even get a job. At 28, he might get a small job that pays him less than what he should have gotten. At 35, he lost that job. He has no hope of getting another one. As a normal, natural human being, he begins to find a way to survive. And that is the seed that gives birth to corruption. It's not because he's a dishonest person, but you have created a beast in him to pull out corruption. Because he needs to survive. Now, you will get to Canada today or US, you find out when a young man gets a house at 24, this is my house, my 2-bedroom apartment. He has a good job, he's moving on. 9 out of 10 people will not be corrupt. He has no reason to be corrupt. Let me make it clear to you. Not every human wants to build 10 houses in Canada, 10 in US, 15 in Australia. No. Some people just want a 2-bedroom apartment, shelter for myself and my wife, forever they are made. So if you deprive people, and then you not only deprive them, you make them feel hopeless that they cannot get it. What you have just sown a seed for corruption. So a very honest man goes to government today, or goes to the office, the first thing he thinks that, wow, it's a privileged position. I may not be there next year. Do you see that? His counterpart in Canada will not think I will not be there next year. He said, okay, I'm here to serve my people because the country has cared for me. So when corruption virus comes in, the Canadian one is able to resist it and push it aside. The Nigerian will say, it's my turn.
The conference has been wonderful, being the largest of its kind. We've made some great connections, and we're very excited to be a part of it.
I think it's a really good platform for people to be able to advertise their businesses, and I really appreciate that. So we definitely like the show.
The need to provide safe, comfortable, functional, affordable and decent housing in a proper setting within a neighborhood supported by continuous maintenance of the built environment for the daily living activities of individuals and families within the community cannot be overemphasized. On that note, I wrap up today's episode of Housing Development. Thanks for watching. Remember, registration for the 15th Abuja International Housing Show is still ongoing via www.ihsabuja.com. I remain Flora Ani, your housing diva. Do stay safe out there.